a great interview for you guys today. Probably one of the most exciting guys I saw speak at the New Orleans Investment Conference a few years ago. Prior to that, I had not known of him. But since then, I've been checking his website frequently. I'm a subscriber. Just somebody who you really want to know, and someone who has high integrity in this business, which is extremely important because ultimately, I don't care what the story is, it's going to come down to the people. And our guest today is an expert in investing, and especially when it comes to those under-the-radar ideas out there. He's traveling all over the world, kicking tires, talking to the CEOs, looking for those deals that you want to position yourself in. Our guest today is Nick HODGE. He's the founder and president of the Outsider Club. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Daniel, it's a pleasure to be back on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, hey, Nick, as we do this interview, funny thing, I think last time we spoke about a silver deal that was going to have a merger. I see the stock has halted, so we might even have an update on that one in a few weeks, I guess.
That's right. The halt for Golden Arrow just came across my desk as well. They're supposed to have an announcement with Silver Standard on their two deposits in Argentina, the Perquitas Silver Standard mine and the Chinchillas deposit from Golden Arrow. So stock's halted. News isn't out yet, but it could be interesting for sure.
We'll see. Well, hey, on the junior front, obviously investors experienced just a parabolic move in many of these companies. The high quality companies, of course, led the way. This past 6 months, and especially in 2017, it's almost had that bear market feeling for a lot of people. What is going on with the junior sector right now? And is this kind of sluggish and no bid market, has it run its course? Is it time for a turnaround back to the upside?
I think certainly you see higher gold prices over the next 18 months. I think that there's a lot of volatility in the gold space in the short term. The markets are trying to figure out where capital needs to go with, Fed raising rates and indices in the U.S. like the S&P and the Dow Jones breaking records, and shakiness in the international markets with things like Brexit and trouble still in Greece and upcoming elections in Italy. So I think it's just a volatile time. We saw gold get pounded down from $1,300 late last year to just below really $1,200 in the past month or so. So we can see how fast it can move. But I think in the long term, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 gold in the next 18 months is very easily achievable. It only takes a little bit of money flowing out of equities that are at, bubble levels, in my opinion, to really inflate the gold sector. It's a really small space. And of course, it doesn't take money coming into the juniors to make them really run as well. We saw that early in 2016, and I think we'll see that again here coming soon. So some of the smart money that I know is taking this opportunity really to leverage into some of the best names with the best management and the best quality assets here before, the next leg up comes, which I think is coming.
Yeah, from rate hike to rate hike, it just keeps gold, the physical gold keeps going up. And of course, the GDXJ is up dramatically in the last year and a half since the first rate hike in December of 2015. Do you anticipate more rate hikes, and do you anticipate the trend to continue? For every rate hike we get, we see a more positive gold price.
I think so. I think the gold price is going to move higher in tandem with the Fed rising. I think that the Fed is fighting Trump right now, right? He wants to have infrastructure stimulus and tax cuts, and they want to sort of temper that with rate increases at the same time. And again, I don't think that Trump is going to be successful. We saw them fail with the health care here in the past couple of weeks, and it's not looking good to get tax reform passed or an infrastructure bill. And so I think that you're going to see some disappointment in the market, and the so-called Trump bump is going to fade. And again, just a little bit of that money coming out of broad-based equities, the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, and moving into equities listed on the TSXV is proportionally, going to send juniors up much higher.
Now, I know you have delivered some very sizable gains to your investors, to the subscribers of your newsletter, and you're an expert at finding the under-the-radar deals. I know I've seen you at some of the, I remember when going into Vancouver, I was trying to listen in. I saw you with some insiders having lunch, and then I know you've traveled to some of the mine site tours that I've seen invitations to. You're traveling all over the place looking for the under-the-radar deal. I know people have to be a subscriber to get those opportunities, especially those private placement ones. But if there's anything you can share with us right now, because I know everybody's kind of looking for, a winner, kind of try to in 2017, it's been rough for many of the gold junior investors. Is there any under the radar stocks right now that you think we should be looking at?
Well, you talk about the private placement deals that I do, and you're right. We've had tremendous success over the past 12 to 18 months with private placement deals in the resource space. Several, multi-baggers and one 1,400% winner in the lithium space. But one company that we financed late last summer, about August 2016, is a company called Canadier Mining. Now, we financed them when they were public or when they were private at around 35 cents a share. And, as it happens, they've just come to trade today on the TSXV. They've come public via an RTO. And, I just think that Canadier has a really good deposit. It has a deposit in the Kyrgyz Republic in Kyrgyzstan that is attached to a deposit that the Chinese mining giant Zijin is currently mining. So the deposit that Zijin is mining continues underground onto Canadier's property. And in fact, the mining leases that Canadier has completely encircles Zijin's deposit. So it's looking like an inevitable buyout scenario. The stock really jumped up today when it started listing. It got as high as $1, and I just think that it's going to be a really good prospect moving forward, especially right in the backyard of a big Chinese company that has a history, in fact, of taking large equity positions in assets that it wants, or in fact buying them outright. It was a large shareholder of Ivanhoe, which has 3 world-class deposits in Africa, and it's not far out of the realm of possibility that's going to take a keen interest in Canadier as well.
What's the symbol for that on the TSX?
Oh, it just started trading today under Barbie's boyfriend, Ken, K-E-N.
Ken, K-E-N. Well, we'll definitely look at that. Now, I've seen Soviet drill holes for some of these other companies in that region where the old Soviet drill holes, when they're just re-drilled by modern drilling, I mean, the results are dramatic for higher grade, larger resource. Have you seen also the same thing, and do you expect this to be part of this deal?
I do, and I have. So Canadier has a 900,000 ounce historic resource on the deposit. And it's a high grade deposit. It's at 8.3 grams a ton. As you say, they're going to drill that back off. And normally what you see is when you have these outdated, Russian drill holes, the drilling itself, yes, produces additional improved results, but also the assay techniques. When you use modern assay techniques, the grade can come out higher as well because the testing techniques are more thorough. And so certainly I expect this to be at least a 1 million ounce deposit and potentially much higher. And also that 900,000 ounce resource is only on one of their zones, and they have multiple zones that still need to be tested. So, multiple shots on goal here.
Nick, what the metals they did really well. They led the market in 2016, and despite what people feel, the metals are actually doing really well in 2017 here. Do you have any favorites that you're eyeing or that you're looking at to look for the underlying companies?
There's a legend in this business named Mr. James Dines who writes the Dines letter, and he's been doing that since 1960. He's sort of the father of the financial newsletter business, and certainly, one of the fathers of the gold bug and hard money movement. And he says that we're in an invisible bull market for these metals. And, one of the calls he's made lately is that, if you can believe this, that silver is going to trade higher than gold. So that means, silver either trading above $1,200 or gold significantly going down. But his bet is on the former. He thinks that silver is going to skyrocket so much that it's going to surpass gold. And I think that, silver as the poor man's gold is just tightly coiled right now. And I think you could see it, spring much higher along with gold, obviously. But, I like silver a lot right now.
No, I've always liked it too. And I remember when I first started researching silver, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, I actually asked Ted Butler, why isn't it trading for at least equal? Just like platinum and palladium have swung like that, where that one has been higher than the other. Silver, there's less physical above supply. There's more reason to own it. There's more purposes for it. So yeah, silver. So now do you also advocate physical ownership of silver, or do you like the ETFs?
Both. I own some shares of a junior silver ETF, and I also own physical metal. I think it's important to diversify into multiple vehicles to leverage yourself to the upward price movement of the metals, and that includes both, yes, holding coins and bullion and holding related equities that are leveraged to the price of the metal itself.
Nick, last question. We've been really focusing on helping people really thrive in this economy and really look in the mirror for their answers, and not politicians or anybody else. You have built an amazing business. It has a great reputation, the Outsider Club, great content. Really, I mean, it's a phenomenal letter that people should really consider looking at and becoming a subscriber. And you're a young guy. You're like me. You're in your 30s still. What are some of the keys to building a great business?
I think integrity is right at the top of the list. One of the things we look for is the people who are running these businesses in the junior mining space. What is their reputation like? What are the previous deals that they've been involved in? Are they strong shareholders? Do they hold their shares? Do they participate in financing alongside of retail shareholders to show how dedicated they are to the story? And do they really give the company an opportunity to deliver for shareholders? By that, I mean, are they really putting their capital into the ground? Are they really trying to discover a deposit if it's an exploration company? Are they really trying to develop a project and de-risk a project, towards some goal, whether that's a PEA or PFS or ultimately production at some point? I think, just really being high stakes when it comes to talking to shareholders about these companies, because as you know, in the junior mining sector, there's a lot of murkiness sometimes. And I think just coming across as a straight shooter has gone a long way for me over the past couple of years.
All right, Nick HODGE of the Outsider Club. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Dan, I appreciate it. Thank you.